Now with Scott Phillips from Motley. Scott, good evening to you. The lockdowns on Wall Street did the share market no favours today.
Tomo, good evening. You've absolutely nailed it. It was the 1-2 punch we really didn't want. Wall Street fell 0.75% on Friday night, our time. And of course, today is the first time we've traded since then. So it was always going to be bad. But of course, the Victorian extension and continued high case counts in New South Wales really gave the market a pessimistic note today.
OK, one of the bright spots was Wesfarmers, which hit a new high before closing at $59.61. A Bunnings boost there, Scott, do you think?
I think you're probably right. Look, Bunnings gets to stay open, of course, which is positive. If you're trading on Friday, wondering what might be closed, what might be open, particularly in New South Wales, Bunnings skates through, not so in Victoria, of course. But we're in the situation where, Bunnings are still the very best retailer in the country. It really is a bit of a light being hidden under a bushel being part of the Wesfarmers group, but it's an extraordinarily profitable and well-run retailer and continues to make every post a winner. Maybe more lockdown projects, Bunnings will probably keep doing well.
OK. Telstra is looking at expanding, moving to buy into Pacific Island's largest mobile phone carrier.
That's right, buying the assets of Digicel Pacific, at least the talks are currently underway. Most of the funds, though, being provided by the Australian government and reportedly try and keep these assets out of Chinese hands. The geopolitical game of chess continues. Now, most of the funding, as I said, Telstra only putting up $200 or $300 million in what could be a $1.5 or $2 billion purchase. So the taxpayer footing the rest of the bill, still to be determined, of course, still to be run out. But this is the biggest carrier in PNG, Fiji, Vanuatu, Tahiti, and some other places as well. It would be an interesting bite for Telstra, but largely a geopolitical one rather than a business decision.
Scali is also looking at a takeover. It's got its eyes on a plush furniture empire.
Now, this has been an extraordinary 12 months for Scali, Tomo. Less than $3 the shares were at the depths of the COVID recession. Now almost $12. Has done a spectacular job of bringing people into store. And of course, most of us having nowhere to go, so we spend a lot of money on refurnishing our homes. They've continued to do well, as I said. Plush is an interesting buy for them. It takes their market down market just a little bit, but it's probably a good place for them to be. They've kind of captured the top end of the market to some degree. So Plush just gives them more market, more opportunity to grab more of us to sit on more of their sofas.
$12, that's a big increase. Now, we saw the Australian dollar under pressure, with CBA researchers believing it could sink to its lowest mark for the year later this week. What's behind the thinking?
Yeah, it's a good question. Look, I think the first thing we should say is most people won't say this, but no one knows exactly what moves the dollar around. We all have reasonable guesses, but that's the most you can do. The two accepted impacts normally are the differences in economic growth between two countries and also the difference in interest rates. Now, if you compare the Australian dollar and the Australian economy against the US, we have a US economy that's growing faster than us. And ironically, their rates are larger and higher than us and likely to go up before ours do. So if you look at those two components, a faster growing economy and higher rates, it's no wonder more people are going to the US dollar and away from the Australian dollar, and that pushes the Aussie down.
And finally, how are things shaping up on Wall Street?
Dear, oh dear, talk about downtime. I can't give you good news after a 0.75% fall on Friday. It looks like the same quantum of a drop today, a 2-day fall of maybe up to 1.5%. Now, some of that might already be in the Australian data today, so maybe we don't need to be too worried about it, but it looks like another red day on Wall Street, and it probably won't do our market any favours tomorrow.
Ouch. Scott Phillips, thank you.